2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20. Did I overspray a bit there? Yes, good morning. If you've seen my videos before, you will know I spray quite a lot. Yes, I spray a lot because I like beast mode strong scents. But is that really what you should be doing? Should you be spraying your clothes, your body 20, 30 times? Sometimes I've even sprayed 50 and more before a work shift or before a workout. Is that a little bit over the top? Probably so, but what I wanted to work out today, or find out, is how much do they recommend? How much should you actually spray before you go on and do whatever you're up to for the day? Obviously this morning I'm going to do a workout. So what I did is I asked ChatGPT, I said, what is the amount of sprays that is sort of recommended? What should I use for my run, my walk, my gym workout, and also like my post exercise once I've finished my workout to get on with the day? How much should I actually spray? And it was really interesting. It was a lot less than I expected. Yeah, you'll see it on the screen in a minute. It was like 1 to 2 sprays. Honestly, if I went through this 1 to 2 sprays, I'd probably have it forever, to be honest with you. But I'm going to go through what they've recommended, and then we're going to sort of do a bit of a for and against spraying or overspraying today. And yeah, we'll come up with a conclusion at the end of what I think you should do or how much I think you should spray. So yeah, let's waste no time. Let's get on with it. So as you will see, ChatGPT thinks for a run you should spray 0 to 1 sprays. Not at all. I never go without a spray, to be honest with you. But I can understand if you're really sweaty and hot and you have a spray on that's quite strong, that can become quite cloying, too much for yourself more than anyone that might be around you. But their general recommendation for spraying is just 1. So what I've got here is I've got an Eau de Toilette of Calvin Klein Obsession. Eau de Toilette I think tends to be the most common sort of concentration of perfume and fragrances. So I'm going to copy their advice today and just see how it does, how it performs. Now it does say spray on your chest or, around different parts of your body, but I'm just going to spray it on my chest, on my clothing today, because obviously if it was the summertime, yes, I'd spray it on my chest, so you might have a vest on, but I've got so many layers on, it's frosty outside, I might as well just do it here. So I'm just going to do 1 spray for this workout. We'll do another one because that's like a half spray. There we go. That just feels wrong. You can see the mark there. Honestly, as you normally see, I do about 5 to 10 sprays per workout, and yeah, 1 just feels wrong. I already feel a little bit underdressed not having that one. So what I'm going to do though, I'm going to go out for my workout. I'm going to do a case for and against. So I'm going to say why I do have so many sprays, why I think that's a good thing, why I think it's a bad thing, and then we'll also talk about why maybe it's a better thing to spray a little bit less. So we'll kind of do a bit like a court case essentially while I'm out from a run. But yeah, enough talking, Harry. Let's get out stretching. I'll see you out there. Well, how can it be the end of March and be so cold? I mean, it's gorgeous weather, but I have to say, I didn't miss putting mittens on. But in terms of spraying, maybe I don't need as much today. But let's sort of make a case for and against then overspraying or underspraying. Let's sort of look at the pros and cons of both. So I'm probably someone who does overspray. As I said, I've sprayed up to 50 times before work shifts before, mainly on clothing. And to be honest with you, that's kind of the reason I've done it. It's kind of for experience. Just, obviously when you sort of start getting sprays, the main thing you kind of want is confidence from people. And I found with sprays, it tends to be the more I apply, obviously the longer it seems to last on clothing then, and the more positive comments I've got. Now, of course, I'm talking in jobs here where I've always been on the move. I've always kind of done sports-based jobs, or jobs where I'm always moving about off a desk, up and down through the day, up to sort of 15 to 18,000 steps, so constantly being on my feet. So I'm probably not in a position where I'm not filling a room in the same way, because I'm not in a position for more than probably like 10 minutes without moving. And that, of course, is important. If you're someone who is overspraying, you don't really want to be in a position where you've got something on that's quite divisive and you're not moving, because then people are probably around you are probably not moving either, and they're thinking, oh, this is too strong, this is too heavy. So I've always been in a position where probably, being out on the move more has helped me in that sense, and it gives you that extra strength where people sort of smell you in passing and go, oh, what was that? That's really nice. So I think that's probably one of the reasons I've always oversprayed. I've had good comments essentially, and because of how I'm sort of using them through the day and moving about, I've never been choking anyone out essentially. The other reason I do it it's just for my own selfishness, to be honest. Look, I really like a lot of the sprays I've bought, and whether that's a citrus scent or a fruity scent like a rhubarb echinacea by Hermes, because I enjoy them so much, I'm never too bothered whether I offend anyone else. It's one of those things, maybe a bit selfish, but I do think we sometimes worry about what we wear, how we dress essentially, what we smell like, how our hair is or whatever, because of what we think other people think, rather than actually going, I just like it that way. And for me, that's just how I see that with some of these. Some of them, my favourite ones in my collection, are certainly not, really mass pleasing ones. Nasamato Bronze is a really strong boozy scent, and I love it. I don't really care if people would ever compliment me on it or whatever, because that's just something I enjoy. So if I do want to spray a bit more of it for my own benefit, then that's great, because it might be, to help me be calm. It might help me just feel more positive in the day, or it's just something I want to sort of reflect my personality with. And that's what those scents do. Some certain scents are just you, they just feel right for you. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So again, it's just for your own selfish reasons as well. You might want to overspray. Another reason, of course, is you may, for the alternative reason, have a lot of sprays. When you're a bit of a collector of these sorts of things, you end up buying 5, 6, 7, 8, and you get fed up with them after a while. You think, I don't know what I'm going to do with all these. I need to get through a few. And there's certainly been times where I've wasted a few just purely overspraying them, because I'm like, I've had this for like 2, 3 years. It's probably time to move it on and get something new because I want something else. So that's also very common as well. And they're probably the main reasons I would overspray. The main reason, of course, is you get more notice. There's no two ways about it. The ones that I felt are really nice, the ones that I felt are stronger over the years, tend to be the ones that get the most comments. So of course, if you are getting good comments, naturally you're going to put more of it on. And of course, when you're doing things like I'm doing, going for runs, and you're wearing more citrus, aquatic based fragrances, they're not as heavy either. So things like eau de colognes, some of my favourite Acte de Parma scents, they're eau de colognes in the Cologne line. You can go that little bit more and not feel like it's going to be too heavy. Of course, the cons then, if we're looking at the cons of overspraying, one of the main things, of course, is I spray my clothes. You can get a bit of staining. I used to have an old work jumper, or was it cardigan, and I didn't actually realise I'd stained it so much. It was so stained on the inside. It was okay on the outside, but the material on the inside, this sort of fleecy layer, was completely it was stained. It looked like grease, to be honest with you, and I assume that was all the oils. And I remember one of my colleagues accidentally put mine on by mistake, because I put it on the back of the wrong chair, and obviously she could smell spray. She said, it's really dirty in this. So what have you been doing? Have you been sort of being a car mechanic in this? I was like, no, it's sprays. I promise there's nothing worse than that. So yeah, that's something you do need to be a bit careful of. Of course, the other reason is, we said about compliments, you might get the other feedback. Some people don't like you saying you've got something really strong. You can feel a little bit embarrassed wearing it. I remember I wore Ted Lapidus Pour On, which is a really strong pineapple scent, and I'll be honest with you, I felt really uncomfortable wearing it. I wore it in a school one day, and I'd been doing a morning sort of session, a morning training session with the kids that were going to do a cross-country event, and I remember thinking, I smell a bit now. Just smell like that sweaty smell. I put so much of this pineapple scent on, I underestimated how strong it was, and children in the class were saying, it smells like, I don't know what they said, didn't say it smelled like pineapple, it smells really strong in here. I just felt uncomfortable wearing it. It was too much attention being drawn to it. Now, for someone like myself who's quite quiet, I don't want that attention in that sense. So again, that's the other thing. If you're someone who's quite a shy personality, who doesn't really want to stand out, the last thing you want to do is overspray, because you'll feel a bit embarrassed, uncomfortable, and it just makes you lose that confidence, which is not what you want with sprays. They should be bringing that confidence out in you. So they're kind of the main cons with overspraying. What I think underspraying is also good is, obviously then you're never going to feel too overwhelmed. Even like a day like today, I know that's, it's not something that's going to really, again, draw attention to myself. But also sometimes underspraying is quite a good thing in those more intimate settings. Obviously we've spoken about the benefits of, overspraying sometimes when you're on the move. But if you're in an office environment, or again you're sitting with your partner at home or something, sometimes just having that slightly lighter smell, not as heavy, draws people in because they want to smell that spray a bit more, and that makes it more, potentially a little bit more attractive, a bit more seductive if you don't overspray. And it also says as well, you're not trying to, show off. Sometimes if you do overspray, it's almost a bit obnoxious, a bit brash, and it's almost like you're basically saying to everyone, notice me, and that can be a bit off-putting. It's like people with a nice car, or they put a big exhaust on and maybe like a boy racer car. It's a bit obnoxious and people don't like that. I mean, one of my pet peeves at the minute is people with those big speakers playing music so loud, but everyone can hear it on a bike or something. It's just like, we don't want to hear your music, essentially. And of course the other benefit, of course, with underspraying or not spraying quite as much, is I think it's better when you're applying it to clothing and skin, particularly skin. You're not going to maybe get as much of a chemical burn. I've sprayed 5 or 6 times around my neck before and got spots and chemical burns and all sorts of things, and you definitely don't want that. So I think that's the other benefit. I think for those more intimate settings, underspraying definitely works. But at the moment, in terms of the smell, I can't smell Calvin Klein's Session 1. I'm out on my run at the minute, but just before I left for it, I could smell it was there on my chest, and I'm sure it'll still be on my clothing by the end. Of course, this is a retro scent, so it is a bit stronger. But yeah, I'm not sure it's going to help me get through this workout today. I already feel out of breath, and I need something to sort of motivate me a bit more. But yeah, I don't think this spray is going to be the thing to push me through, but you never know. I'll update you as I finish my run. Back from my run, I have to say I didn't notice the fragrance at all, because I sprayed just one Obsession here. Can I still smell it in that area? Yes, but extremely faintly. Now, the question I suppose is, if I sprayed a little bit more, would I have noticed it? Yes. If I sprayed my 5, 10, 15 times, 100% I would have got this fragrance picked up a lot more than I do now. So at the moment, I'm still a bit more of a fan of overspraying, particularly if you're in those outdoor environments. It's less of an issue for me. But now what we've got to look at is what they're recommending for the gym. So I'm going to take the hoodies and stuff off in a minute. They've said to spray maybe once, or again 0, because you don't want it to be overpowering and obviously choking you out more than anything, because this is an indoor environment, but it does feel a little bit, just not enough for me. I'm not sure I'm too happy with this, but yeah, we'll do that now anyway, and then we'll head to the gym. So it's actually just one spray for my walk and none for the gym. I don't feel happy with this. I don't like their reasoning. The fact that sweat is too much for fragrance. What do you think? I want you to comment below and tell me, do you think just 2 sprays this morning is enough to do a run and a gym workout? At least I can do a few more after a shower, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So heading to the gym now. I've got wild hair again, haven't I? Honestly, I can't believe I need to have a haircut at this rate. But yeah, let's talk about this sort of amount of sprays after the gym. So I'm going to do my workout. Then it's saying about 2 sprays post-shower. So the strongest amount of sprays apparently is after my workout. Now I do agree with that. I agree with their reasoning, because again, you're getting on with your day, then you're probably not going to be getting as hot and sweaty as you are during the workout. So yeah, you want something that's going to last you maybe 4, 5, 6 hours, especially if you're going on to work or you're meeting up with friends along those lines. And I've got a coaching session this afternoon, so that will be useful for me. But 2 sprays is nothing. Now, I've done a bit of a study on this before. If anyone's seen one of my videos where I talked about this, how many sprays can you get out of like a 10ml bottle, let's say? And it's around that sort of 80, 100 mark. It's quite a lot. You can do a lot more. Now that should be, sorry, I take that back. It was a 2ml sample. You get about 80 droplets out of a 2ml sample. So, I mean, if you're only doing, say, 5 sprays a day, which is kind of what they're recommending here, 100ml bottle, wow, it's going to take a long, long time, isn't it? Personally, well, it's going to take over a year. So personally for me, I still think that's underdoing it. I really do. But I think as long as you spray, if you only had 2 sprays, I'd definitely go in the chest and maybe just my top somewhere around the shoulder region as well, just because that's where I feel like you're most moving, where you're going to detect it and someone else is going to be sort of at that, same level, nose level essentially to your body. So that's what I would say. But yeah, I'm not enjoying it at the moment. I'm not getting much fragrance smell at all, certainly not kicking through my coat, but that's what it says. That's the advice. I'm just not used to it. So we are back. We are all showered, but I didn't actually take the fragrance with me because my bag's heavy enough at the moment with all the other bits I've got in, clothes, shampoos, shower gels. I just thought, I don't think I can fit in a 200 ml Calvin Klein session, but it's only been 45 minutes since I had a shower, so I might as well do the 2 sprays which was recommended. No, for me, just does not work. So obviously that's what they've recommended. If you went on with your day now, spray twice. Now, of course, they're not saying where to spray it particularly as well, but I think for me overall, I like to just do this. Now, to some people, that's going to be far too much, and I appreciate that that is fine. And we all have our differences. We all get different temperatures, well, body temperature. Some people sweat a lot more. Some people will give off more of that fragrance than other people. And it's just, that's it, individual differences. Skin chemistry can be another thing. We know people can just make a fragrance smell different, or it smells different to them on their skin than it may do to someone else. And that's absolutely fine. For me, though, it should be personal preference. The overall thing I want to say today, it's personal preference. It's up to you how much fragrance you want to apply. Of course, if you're confident and you want to make it brash, harsh in people's face, go ahead and spray 200 ml of that in one go if you really want to. It's up to you. But of course, you want to be kind of in that sweet spot. For me, I want to be in that position where I smell pretty much above everyone else. I'm stronger, in terms of my fragrance than everyone else. And just from my own experience, 20 to 50 sprays has always worked best. So I've probably done about 20 there. 30, 31. I'll probably spray the back of my neck sometimes. 32, 33, 34. Let's do 40 for now. Now, of course, I'm not going to do that with all sprays. You know which ones are strong. You know which ones are going to be a bit divisive in your collection. For me, this one isn't. It's one that's worked really well for me. Again, I'm going to do a coaching session in a minute. I'm going to be outside for that. I know that's not going to offend anyone. If anything, people are going to say good things. I got a lot of confidence when I've sprayed more, essentially. And it's just knowing what situation and what fragrance to wear in those. Do I spray my skin sometimes? Yes, I do. Now, at the moment, I'm wearing a football top. Now, if I had a button or a shirt on, essentially I had buttons, I would spray my chest. But of course, it's too protected here. I'm not going to really get anything. So if I'm going to spray the fragrance, I just touched on it. I do 2 sprays on the back of my neck. I find the back of your neck's less sensitive than this bit here. Again, if you're turning around, people may notice that one as well. So that's probably the only place I particularly apply it on my skin, but it's completely up to you. Again, that's just something I do, and I find it works for me. Again, my height is 5'8", 5'9"-ish. So I'm at a point where most people are a little bit taller than me, to be honest with you. So I'm kind of at nose height to some people who are sort of 6 foot and above. So that just works for me. So yeah, just rock whatever you like. Ignore advice, ignore what people tell you online. Go for what you want. Fragrance is number one before compliments, before anything else. Should work for you. It's your thing, it's your purchase, your money. You wouldn't like anyone telling you how to spend your money, and you wouldn't tell anyone else how to spend theirs. So make it how you want it. And I hope that's kind of emphasised that with today's video. For me, 5 sprays is definitely not enough. For you, it might be perfect in what you're doing. So yeah, hope you've enjoyed this one today. Let me know your comments. Again, this is probably a bit of a divisive topic. So yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts and which ones you maybe spray a little bit more of. And yeah, maybe some that I can buy that are super strong. I'd definitely be interested in whether they're the nicest smell in the world or not. I want to try real beast mode, so give me a shout of some of those that I could try. Thanks for watching today. Catch you later.